lambda plus L. Lambda plus L2 is 0. Okay. So you plug in those values, they are directly from the table. There is no calculation which is required or anything. I mean, those calculations have already been completed. It's just that you have to keep checking back and keep plugging in those values. So anyway, for the transitions, positive transitions from M01, negative transitions from M02. So these are the values. Likewise, one more of this and then we move over. So you have C0 and L3. C0 is 200 and L3 is 140. So that's 60 megawatt. Okay. Then probability of M03 is probability of the capacity, probability of the load. Probability of the capacity is always the same. You know, everywhere we have used these numbers. Everywhere we have used these numbers. Yeah. So probability of the capacity is this, C0. Then L3. L3, what is the probability? You remember? That's the problem. We need to keep going back. So probability of L3 is 0.25. So probability of L3, yeah, probability of L3 is 0.25. So you calculate the probability of this margin state 03. Then higher transition from M03 is higher capacity, lower. So lambda C0 minus lambda plus C0 plus lambda minus L3. Nothing to the higher state than 200. C0 is 200. So this is 0. And from L3 to a lower state is always 2. You know, L3 to L0, which is L0 is 0. So that's always 2. So this is okay. Now, negative is the lower capacity state and higher load state. So there is nothing higher than the peak load, so that's 0. And lower load state minus C0, we have used that earlier, that's 0.0044. So this is also there. Okay, so we have been able to find out these transitions. So likewise, we find out the transition for C0L4, you know, the probabilities, the transition rates for C1L0, C1L1, C1L2, C1L3, C1L4. So for all combinations. Likewise, for all combinations of C2, L0, L1, L2, L3, L4. So likewise, for all combinations of L3 with C3 with L0, L1, L2, L3, L4. So you can see how the margin state is also labeled. The first number denotes the capacity, the second number denotes the load. So you find out the capacity, you find out the probability, then you find out the transition rates. So, so that's with C3, all the loads, then with C4, you know, L0, L1, L2, L3, and L4. You know, maybe you would like to do this. So the capacity is C4 minus capacity, or the margin, not the capacity. I would say the margin. You know, the margin is C4 minus L4. So C4 is a state in which you have 0, and L4 is the maximum. You remember 100, 120, 140, 150. I hope that's the correct value. So many typos here. Yeah, 150 is the maximum. Yeah. So that's 150 minus 150. So you see, this is a negative margin state. So we have encountered many negative margin states. So this was minus 140. Everything with C4 will be minus because C4 is 0. Okay. So this is minus 120. This is minus 100, and this is 0. So you have minus 150 and the probabilities have been calculated. The probabilities are known, and then we have substituted. Then from C4 positive transition, you can go to C3. So the transition rates are already there in the table. From L4, you can go to L0, and that transition rate is 2. So here you are for positive transition, plus from from margin state 4,4 to a higher margin state, then margin state 4,4 to a lower margin state. Less than C4, C4 is already 0, there is nothing. Then greater than the peak load, there is no other state. So greater than L4, L3, L2, L1, there is nothing. So that's all 0. So this 0, this is 2.1052, and the probability of these margin states. So we have now all the margin states. All the margin states. Now the problem is that many of these margin states are identical. For example, this is C1 L4. L4 is 150. This is 150. So this is 0. So likewise, you could have C0 L0. Probably that's where we began. C0 L0. No, C0 is 200. Sorry. So C4 L0. Let's see C4 L0. C4 L0 is also 0. If generation is 150, load is 150, it will be 0. So you combine all these identical margin states. You first make a table of what are the margin states and what are their capacities of these margin states, and then find out which of them are identical, and you list them up. And then you need to combine all these margin states. Okay. So how do I combine all these margin states? So combining margin states is not a big problem. You multiply the probabilities and you multiply the probabilities and with the transition rate, and you get the we'll see how we combine them. These expressions can be confusing for you. So let's see. For example, states C0L1 and C2L0 are 100 megawatt each. C0 is 200, L1 is 100. So 200 minus 100. So there's a margin state of 100. And C2 is this is 200, so C1 is 150, so C2 is 100, and L0 is 0, so this is also 100. Okay, so we need to combine these two. So how do we combine this? So let's look at the expression rather than get bogged down by the formulas, because it will be tough for you to figure out from the formulas what exactly is happening. So we use the expressions and then in the problems, and therefore we get a better understanding of the formulas that have been used. So when you combine these two, it becomes one margin state. There are two independent states of M01 and M20. Now we want to combine M01 and M20. Because they are equal capacity states, we want to combine and want to call it, we give a different name, say margin of 100, margin of 100. So we have, for example, given instead of using M01, M20, etc., now we call it 100 margin state, because we have combined all those margins where you have 100. So what did we do? We take the probability of this state, multiply it by the positive transition rate, and we take this margin state probability, multiply it by the positive transition rate, positive transition rates, and these are probabilities, and then divide it by the sum of these two probabilities. That will give you, this is what is written here. Okay, so you've taken positive transition rates, and these are the state probabilities, multiplied them, summed them up, for identical states. If there are k identical states, we have summed k of them and then divided it by their probabilities. That's what exactly has been done. So in this case, there are only two of them, M01 and M20. So we've taken the probabilities and their margin states, margin and their positive transitions from these margin states, and then divided it by the sum of these two probabilities. So we have already calculated all these parameters for the probability, combined probability of this, combined probability of this, the transition from this margin to a higher state or a lower state. That's but here we use the higher state transition. So we plug in these values and to get the transition rate from the combined state. These states were not combined. You see, this is one independent state C0L1. This is another independent state C2L0. Now we have combined them and call them 100 megawatt state. Okay, so the positive transition from that 100 megawatt state is calculated by plugging in these values. Likewise, you can also calculate the transition to a lower state. This is a transition from a higher to a higher state from the margin state of 100 megawatt. This is a transition to a lower state from 100 megawatt. Okay, so instead of these positive transitions, we take these negative transitions. Instead of taking lambda plus M01, we take these transitions to lower state. Okay, and multiplied by the probability. The probabilities remain same, but instead of plugging in these transitions to positive to higher margin state, we have made we have plugged in those which are transitions to lower margin states. So from plus M01 we have minus M01, and from plus M20 you have minus M20. Now you remember we have calculated everywhere earlier. This is plus M44, minus M4, plus M43, minus M43. So we have calculated all these values earlier. So we simply plug in these values, and we plug in all these values and we get this. Okay, so so these are the transition rates. But what about the probability? Probability is simply 200 megawatt, two states, C0L1 and C2L0. So that's M01 and this is M20. So we add in these probabilities and we get probability for being in a 100 megawatt state. And we have identified all those states which have similar capacities, and we have merged them. And we have merged them and we call it a new margin state. New margin state. Okay. So new margin state 100 megawatt. Earlier we had identical margin states as well. Not all of them were identical, some of them were identical. So those identical ones we have combined and then call it a specific margin state. So you have 100 megawatt margin state with a probability value and with transition to a higher state and transition to a lower state. So we identify all such which have identical capacities left because of the margin. So let's see C0L4. C0, you remember, is 200. And what is L4? L4 is 150. We had 0, 100, 120, 140, 150 megawatt were the loads. So L4 is 150. So C0 is 200. So this is 50. So this, the margin is 50. What about C1, L1? 200, 150 is C1. 150 is C1. And what about L1? L1 is 100. So what is the margin? 50. So in this case also it was 50. This case also it's 50. Yet there is another one also which you have 50. It's not necessarily that there will be just two. It could be three or more. 2, 3, 4, any number. So C3 is 100. C0 was 200. C1 was 150. Then C3 is, no, C1 was 150. Then C2 was 100. Then C3 is 50. And what is L0? L0 is 0. L0 is 0, the low load. So C3 L0 is also 50 megawatt margin. So there are three margin states, which are identical to 50 margin. So we have, we can calculate the probabilities. That's what we have done. We've simply added up these probabilities due to each of these states. So this is the total probability for being in 50 megawatt state. And what about the transition to a higher state from 50 megawatt plus 50 megawatt to a higher, that is to a higher state from that 50 megawatt state? So lambda plus. So again, you remember that expression? This is the same expression. So for positive transitions, we take the positive transition values. For the negative, use the negative. So you multiply PM04 by lambda plus M04, PM11 by lambda plus M11, PM30 by lambda plus M30, and divided by the sum of these probabilities. Now these are transition to higher states corresponding to 04, corresponding to 11, corresponding to 30. These are the probabilities. So you get transition to a higher state from 50 megawatt. This is the transition rate. To a lower state, this is 04 state. So to a lower state than 04, margin 04. So that's lambda minus M04. This is lambda minus M11, this positive margin M11. This is a M11 margin, M30 margin to a lower state. Lambda minus M30, lambda minus M1, lambda minus M0. And therefore, this is the transition to a lower transition rate to a lower state than 50 megawatt. This transition rate to a higher state than 50 megawatt, transition rate to a lower state than 50 megawatt. So this is the probability, this is the transition rate, and this is the probability. So probability and transition rates. Okay. So likewise for 0 megawatt, all combinations are possible. So for 0 megawatt, let's look at this combination. C1 L4, C2 L1, C4 L0. C1 is 100, L4 is 100, isn't it? L4 is, C1 is how much? C1 is, sorry, C0 is 200, C1 is 150. So L4 is also 150. So 150, 150, 0. C2 is 150. No, C2 is, C0 is 200, C1 is 150, C2 is 100, and L1 is 100. So this is 100 and 100, 0, no margin. C4 is 0, L0 is 0. So this is also 0 margin. So all these three have 0 margin. So that's probability of having a 0 margin state. Add up all these three probabilities, you get this. Then to a higher state from 0 margin. So that's M14. So therefore lambda plus, M21 state, so lambda plus, and then M4 state, M40 to lambda plus, and then therefore you get lambda plus 0 megawatt state. This is the transition rate, and lambda minus 0 megawatt state. So this is the transition state, transition rate. So now you have all the probabilities of all the margin states combined and the transition rates as well. So yeah, So anyway, so those are positive states. Likewise, you also have negative states, but the calculation is same. The calculation is not any different. It's just that the differences are negative. For example, C2. C2 is C0 is 200, C1 is 150, C2 is 100, and L4 is 150. So 100 minus 150 is a minus 50 megawatt state. Earlier, we used to have those positive states, positive margin state. Now this is a negative margin state. You see. So this is one combination. And what about C3L1? C3L1 is also C3 is C3 is C0 is 200, C1 is 150, C2 is 100, C3 is 50, and L1 is 100. So 50 minus 100 is minus 50. Okay. So we plug in these values for transitions, transition rates, and we get the transition rate, to higher state from minus 50 to lower state from minus 50. So these are the transition rates. These are the probabilities. Likewise, you have minus 100 megawatt state, and therefore you have this table. Okay. So we'll begin with this table. Let's take a break of 5 minutes and be back. Is that okay?
Fine, sir.
Okay. We'll take a 5-minute break and come back.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, can we begin? Can we begin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I hope all you guys are there. So let's come to the table, the margin states. You have margins, from 0, 10, 30, 50, 60, 80, 100, 150, 200. These margins are occurring because of the combination, because of the various possibilities between capacities and loads. So you take the differences and then order them. So you can get a maximum margin of 200, and the ones which are identical, we have combined them and we got their probabilities as well. So here are the probabilities, and these are the margin states, and these are the cumulative probabilities. Of course, the cumulative probability cannot be more than 1. So these errors are primarily due to rounding off errors. So don't worry about them. So this is due to rounding off. But these are the cumulative probabilities. And then these are the probabilities, these are the transitions to higher margin states, and these are the transitions to lower margin states. Okay, and these are the frequencies. These are the cumulative frequencies. Cumulative frequencies have been calculated. How what we have done is we have found out the individual margins probabilities. This we have taken this probability multiplied by the sum of these transitions, okay, and that gives us the frequency due to each of these. We start from here and then we move over here. What we did was we calculated the frequency, and then to that we added the multiplication between the probability and the difference between the transition rate. You remember we had discussed this point, and you can find out the cumulative frequencies. So these are the cumulative frequencies. So this is the table. This is the table. This is the table for positive margin states. Now what about negative margin states? So this is the table for negative margin states. For negative margin states. And this is the cumulative frequency. This is the cumulative frequency, and this is the cumulative probability. So that's the reason why you got probably rounding off, and probably here we did not include in this the those states with negative margin states. Okay, so that's the reason we got some errors. So anyway, so you have these probabilities and these cumulative probabilities, the transitions, and the cumulative frequency. So what are the margin states which are success states, and what are the margin states which are failed states? So the success states are those which have positive margin states, and the failed states are those which have negative margin state. So how do I find out the system failure frequency, system failure probability, and so on? So the cumulative probability of occurrence of the first negative margin state is the probability of failure of the system. So you see, the first margin state. Cumulative probability, sorry, not the frequency, the cumulative probability or the first margin state, So the probability is this, cumulative probability. So this is a cumulative probability. That means the probabilities of all these have been added up. Okay, so this is a cumulative probability, and these are all negative margin states, and therefore this is the probability of system failure. Probability of failure. What about cumulative frequency, first negative margin state? This is the cumulative frequency. So the cumulative probability gives you the probability of system failure, and this is the frequency of the system failure. So you have the probability and you have the frequency. Okay. So, probably would have been confusing. Therefore, it has been reiterated here again in this, that the cumulative frequency of occurrence of the immediate state, which is lesser in capacity, the cumulative frequency of occurrence is the sum of the cumulative frequency of the immediate state, which is, so cumulative frequency, you take the lower state, what is the cumulative frequency, and then to that you add product of the probability of the state and the difference between higher and lower departure rates. So the lower state, you take the difference between the higher and the lower, and then multiply it by the probability, and then sum to the previous state, and that gives you the cumulative frequency. So it requires a bit of practice and some more reading for you to be able to get a complete hang of this. And don't get really unnerved because there are so many tables, so many formulas, so many expressions. You have to keep your patience, keep referring them, keep checking them. If nothing, do some hand calculation to see what you have figured out is correct or not. Otherwise, you'll get lost for sure. So anyway, so you have been able to find out the the probability of failure of the system and the frequency of failure of the system. So probably we are we are also in a position to take another example. We are in a position to take another example, and then I wanted to move over to those interconnected systems as fast as possible, because that's also a very involved subject and it would definitely take some time to explain that. The calculations and moving from one table to another, referring back is always a issue. Anyway, this is yet another numerical. The data regarding the capacity states of a generating system and the connected load system. Assuming that the generating system fails whenever the generating capacity is less than the load, calculate the probability of failure of the system and its frequency of failure. So these are the capacities, generation capacities. So you have 0 megawatt, 20 megawatt, 30 megawatt, and 50 megawatt, and the availabilities. And then departure rates to higher and lower. And these are the load capacity. So you have loads varying from 0 to 40. Low load is 0. You could have a peak load of 20, you could have a peak load of 30, you could have a peak load of 40. And these are the probabilities associated with it. And these are the departure rates, higher and lower, higher and lower. Okay. So you have two different types of generator, I assume. And if both of them fail, then you have 0. One is 20 and one is 30. And if both of them are working, you get 50. Okay. So that's how the probability calculations have been done. The departure rates have also been calculated. Now, let us look at this solution. We basically cannot go into the details of all the calculation, but at least you know what exactly it means and how they could have been calculated. So let's look at the various possibilities of load and generation. Generation happens, lowest generation is 0, then 20, then 30, and then 50. This is what we have seen. And then, of course, all these are tabulated. The probabilities are tabulated. The transitions to higher state, lower state are all tabulated. Now, this is the generation, and this is the load. So the loads are 0, 20, 30, 40. Their probabilities are tabulated. Then transition to higher are all 0 because this is a peak load. Okay. Transition to higher state for 40, 30, 20. And of course, 0, this is something which is not correct. Okay. From transition from load 0. This is 0 megawatt. So this is the low load. This is a low load. So this, I think in the computations, these values have been used correctly, but probably, let's see. Low load. Yeah, low load. Higher is 1.67 and low load, lower is 0. So, so this is low load. Higher is not 0. Higher is 1.67 and lower is 0. Lower is 0. So there are some typographical errors. Here lambda minus is 0 and here lambda plus is 1.67 and the rest are all correct. Okay. So well, this is the capacity generation and this is the load. And therefore, what are the margins? 0 and 40, minus 40. Capacity is 0, load is 40, so minus 40. 0 and 30, minus 30. 0 and 20, minus 20. 0 and 0, 0. So it's a success state. There is no loss of load. So we are interested in knowing probably the probability of failure and the frequency of failure. You know? So capacity 20, load 40, margin minus 20, 20 and load 30 minus 10, 20 and 20 0, 20 and 0, this is success state. So we need not have to worry about success states because anyway they don't figure out in the calculation as far as the sum of the probabilities of failure states are concerned. We are interested only in the failed states. Okay. So let's look at capacity 20, load 40 minus 20, capacity 20, load 30 minus 10, then 20, 20, 0. Capacity 30, load 40 minus 10, capacity 30, load 30, this is success state. Then let's look at capacity 50, load 40. So these are success state. So all are success states thereafter. So these are the only failed states. You have two 10 megawatt states, you have two 20 megawatt states, margin state, and 130 and 140. So how do I calculate the probability? I'll have to combine those equivalent margin states. You know, the minus 10 megawatt and minus 10 M5 and M6 need to be combined to give you a minus 10 megawatt state. And then M4 and M3 is minus 20 megawatt. So these need to be combined to give you a minus 20 megawatt state. This doesn't need to be combined in there. This also doesn't need to be combined in there. So you have two minus 10 and two minus 20, which are the ones which need to be combined. So you'll get four different states. One is minus 40 state, minus 30 state, another is minus 20 state, and another is minus 10 state. Okay. So we have calculated the probabilities of failure. We have calculated the probabilities of failure as well as we have calculated the transition rates, and then we have calculated the frequency of failure. Okay, so how many failure states are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 failure states are there, isn't it? These are all minus states. So we take the probabilities, add them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 failures. So this is the probability of failure. This is the probability of failure. And then we calculate the frequencies. And then we calculate the cumulative frequencies, isn't it? So we have taken the first one, the probability, and then the transition rates, the difference between the two. This gives you the frequency for the first, that's, what is that? First one, 1032, does it show? Yeah, minus 40. So then we have moved over to the next margin, that's M2, that's minus 30, you know. So we calculated the frequency of failure. This is the difference between the departure rates. You remember in the previous note that we mentioned that you have to take the difference between the departure rate multiplied by the frequency and gives you the cumulative frequency, not the frequency. You remember in the frequency we were summing them up. The departure rates were being summed The cumulative frequencies, this is the difference. You know, you can get into the mathematics of it, but at the moment it can only confuse you. So let's see the difference. You know, that's the first one 931.7 and this is 0. Okay, so that's the difference. So this is the frequency of the first cumulative frequency of the first margin state. Then you want to find out the second cumulative. So you take this previous frequency and take the probability of the second M2. You know, M2. What is the probability? 0.00032. 0.00032. Okay. So this is the first frequency, cumulative frequency, then the probability, then the difference between the two transition rates. In this case, you can see the transition rates are same. So no big deal. So you calculate the cumulative frequency. Then you take the next. So you use this cumulative frequency and then take the probability of M4 state and then take the difference between the cumulative difference between the transition rate. This is another typo. This is 931.7. It's not 921.7. 931.7. Okay. So you calculate these cumulative frequency like that. You can go on for all of them. So cumulative frequency for margin state M1, for state 2, for state 3, for state 4, state 5, and state 6. Okay, so for state 6, this is the cumulative. You know, you have already taken into account the previous frequencies, and therefore this is the frequency of failure. Okay, so this is the probability of failure of that system. This is the probability of the failure for that previous problem. You know, this problem, the capacity profile, the load profile, and so frequency of failure and probability of failure. Frequency of failure and probability of failure can be calculated. So this is about merging load and generation profiles. That's important when you want to get into more complex problems, especially the multi-area reliability interconnected systems. Okay, so we'll get into this and I'll just rush through because this in itself can take you know, several hours to go through all the calculations, but I'll just rush through. So I'll go through it through some examples. As we get into the theory and we get into diagrams, we'll get lost. So let's get directly through some examples. So that will illustrate the problem better. So let's say we have two areas A and B. Consider that there is no tie between the two areas such that they operate in an isolated fashion. So the idea is that you have area A which has a generation and which has a load, and then area B which has a generation and which has a load, and there is some margin for A and there is some margin for B. But sometimes what happens is the load is very high because of the generation state. You know, some of them have failed, so it could be that the margin gets into negative state, so which causes failure. And therefore, is it possible that if there is something spare available in area B which is being generated and the load is low, and therefore there is some margin available, and A's requirement at some time is more, you know, and it doesn't want to get into a failed state, so it borrows from B, and vice versa, that can happen, you know. So if there are no ties, you know, what is the advantage, you may ask? So if there are no connections between these two areas and you calculate the LOLP, for example, you'll get some figure, you know, and if you have some tie between them, then you can see the loss of load probability comes down. The chances that you'll lose load or expected load loss becomes lower. So it is advantageous to have a tie line between the two. The tie line can be of a limited capacity. You know, it need not have to be infinite capacity, but it could also be, you can say theoretically, an infinite capacity that it's not limited capacity, and you can borrow as much as is spare. But the spare that can be borrowed, the reserve that can be borrowed can be limited by the tie line. And you can also add another constraint that the tie line is not very perfect, in the sense that it also has failure rate, is also subject to failure, therefore also subject to repair. So all those constraints can be added up, and you can find out what is the advantage that you get by connecting these systems. So we want to find out this multi-area reliability or interconnected systems reliability. So you see, this is two areas. You have A and B. So area A, the capacity outage states. You can have, for example, in this particular case, there are 11 units in A and 13 units in B. And loads are 6 units in A and 8 units in B. So you have 11 units in A, 13 units in B, generation, load 6 unit in A, and 8 unit load in B. So what is the reserve? What is the spare? Okay, 5. So 11 is the generation, 6 is the load in area A. And what about area B? 13 generation, 8 load. So 5. So there is 5 spare in each of these areas, A and B. So let us see what is the what is the difference if we don't have a interconnection, and what is the advantage that we get if we have an interconnection. So this is area A and this is area B. These are the outage states. So you have 11 units, here you have 13 units. So 1 could be out, 2 could be out, 3 could be out, 4 could be out. All of these could be out. You have 6 is the load in area A and 8 is the load in area B. So there is a reserve for 5 reserve capacity in 5 in B as well as in A. So these are the outage states. You can have outage, forget 0, you can have outage from 1 to 13. All of them can be out in area B and all of them can be out in area A. And since the since the load is 6, therefore in the first, if there are outage up to 5 units, then it's successful, isn't it? 11 units, load is 6. So if you have outage up to 5 units, that would make A successful. Likewise, you have 13 units in B, and if you have outage up to you have outage up to 5 units, then that would make B successful because the load is 8. So 8 and 5, 13. So you have 8 outages. That means you have 5 outages. So you can still cater to the load of 8 because you have 13 units. So if 5 of them fail in B, it's okay. If 5 of them fail in A, it's okay. So, so 5 and 5, this quadrant is A successful, B successful. And what about this quadrant? Let's look at the worst situation. If more than 5 fail, if more than 5 fail, if more than 5 fail, then it's a failed state because the load is 11 and you have the load is 6 in area A and generation is 11, so 5 was spare. Therefore, if 6 fail, it is a failed state. Here also in B, area B, if more than 5 failed, it's a failed state. So this quadrant is a failed state, for both for area A as well as B. This quadrant is a success state both for area A and B. Now, if less than 6 fail, if less than 5 fail, if less than or up to 5 fail, up to 5 failed. 5 could fail and still you can service a load of 6. From outage from 1 to 5 is A success, but outage from 6 to 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so more outages than 5, 6 to 13 means B has failed. So this quadrant is A successful, B failed. This quadrant is A failed, B failed. This quadrant is A success, B success. Likewise, this quadrant is A fail and B success. Okay. So you can be operating in any quadrant, but is it possible, for example, that you are currently in this quadrant, that there you have experienced more outages? Instead of 5 outages, we have now gone to 6th outage. So you are on the failed side, but you can see, but when you are in this state, the outage is very low for B. There is only outage of 4. There is only outage of 4. So there is a reserve margin of 1. So if you can borrow the power supply from B, you can convert this A failed state into a success state, and B would also still remain a success. So this lending, borrowing can go on. And therefore, that would lead, if that is possible, then it is possible to make this model, this quadrant into this kind of quadrant. You have outage state of 10 over here, and you have a outage state of 0 over here. You have a outage state of 10 here, and you have outage state of 0 over here. In B, for example, can have an outage of 0. Then you can borrow, it can tolerate an outage of 5 because everything is working. The load is 8, so it can tolerate an outage of 5. So so you can borrow all the 5 and you can make it a working state, although you have 10 units which are lost. 10 units which are lost. So likewise, you move a little higher, you can make it still more working, you can still make it working, and this goes on. So instead of having one simple quadrant, which was A success and B success, this simple quadrant, now you can have this as well by borrowing. So you have reduced this quadrant in which one of them was failure. Both of them failure, there is nothing which you can do, because there is no borrowing which is possible. At least one of them should be working. If one of them is working, then you can, one of them is a successful state, then you can do some borrowing and make this, then you can convert part of that space into a working space, and this also you can convert part into a working space. So instead of having a smaller quadrant, now you have a bigger area which is working. Bigger area which is working. So that means the probability of failure has been reduced. If you say that the system failure simply means only when both fail, then it's a different thing. But if you say one of them has failed, or both of them have failed, then this total area is a reduced space. Earlier, this 3 quadrants, was a failed state. Now you have, you can see around 2 quadrants, half and half. I'm just trying to give you a pictorial view of it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that half would add up to 2 quadrants. But I'm simply saying that you can see the success space has increased. And therefore, it makes sense to have a tie line between these 2 areas and to perform this interconnection, so that wherever there are outages and when there is spare, they can be used. Spare can be used, the reserve can be used and can convert a failed state into a success state. So the overall reliability can be improved. So those same examples have been given in short, whatever I have mentioned to you. Okay. So you have this as a success area. The failed space has reduced. Here also the failed space has reduced. This quadrant, there is nothing to borrow, nothing that can be shared, because both of them are out. Quadrant means If there are so many out here, if there are simultaneously at that same time when you want to borrow, if there are so many out here, if it is out from 6 to 13, and if it is out from 6 to 11, then this is a failed area. Otherwise, there is possibility that you can lend and borrow, and then you can make this, convert this into a success area. Okay. So, yeah. So it's just an explanation, qualitative explanation there. Yeah. So with tie line, limited capacity, you know, this is assuming unlimited capacity. This is unlimited. You can borrow till the last. You can borrow till the last. But here, if you have a tie line which has a limited capacity, say you have 10 megawatts or 2 megawatts or 5 megawatts, so you can limit, you know. So this whole curve doesn't extend up to the end of it. So A and B, you know, if A has to borrow from B, then that's limited. If B has to borrow from A, so that's limited. So because of these limits, the area gets a little restricted. So with infinite tie line, you have a different probability of losing load. With finite tie line, you know, finite capacity, there is a different probability of losing load. And finite tie line also, that means if it is a perfect tie line, but the tie line may not be perfect. The tie line also has failures and have repairs, and therefore limited tie line capacity with imperfect tie lines would be subject to more restricted loss of load. Okay. So that's multi-area. So let's go over to the numerical. The theory is no big deal to understand. I have qualitatively explained to you. These are limitations which are imposed by the finite capacity of the tie line. So let's look at area A, area B. So 5 units is 10 megawatt capacity, 1 unit is 25 megawatt capacity, peak load is 50, here peak load is 40, different number of units, 6 units in all, and they are dissimilar, not identical. One is having 10 megawatt, another is 25, here one is 10, here another is 20. The forced outage rates are different and the peak loads are different. So you need, first thing is to build up the capacity outage probability table. So the probabilities I'm not going to explain to you. You can do that on your own. So the generations that are happening are from area A. You know, 5 units, 10, 1 unit, 25. So maximum you can generate is 75. And minimum you can generate is, yeah. So total capacity is 75. Total capacity is 75. And the peak load is 50. So 50 means, okay. So to obtain the COPT for system A, unit addition algorithm can be applied. Initially consider the COPT of the 5 units. So because you have dissimilar units, so we cannot go to the right away to all the units combined. So let's first develop the COPT for 10 units, 5 unit with 10 units each. So ranging from 0 to 50, the probabilities, the outages, then 25 unit, you know, the 50 can be combined with 25, you know, there's just 1 unit. There's just one. This is 5 and this is 1. So 1 unit of 25, that means either 25 can be added or 0 can be added, you know. So you have possibility to add 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, or 0. You know, so this is all adding 25. And when it is down, 25 unit is working, so you add. Then if 25 is down, then this, then there is nothing you can do. It's just the same, but the probabilities become different. So you have consolidated COPT ranging from 75 to 0. You know, we have used all these two tables and combined them. 0 to 50 and this is 35 to 75. So you insert all these values, and then you get a consolidated COPT ranging from 0 to 75. See, all those values have been inserted, and whenever you are adding, 25 plus 50, so you take the probability for 50 multiplied by the probability for 25. Either it can be there or it cannot be there. So 40, for example, it is not there, so you simply multiply by 0.02. So likewise 25, if it is not there, so it's 0, 0, nothing is there, 0, and then the cumulative probability 0 to 1. Okay, so this is the cumulative COPT. Peak load is 50. So the system will fail to meet its load demand when there is capacity outage, when the capacity outage is 25. So when there is more than 25 unit down, then the system would fail. So when would that happen? Greater than 25, so you can calculate the LOLP. So LOLP means more than 25 is down. Okay, more than 25 down means you come to more than 25 down. So that is because the load is 50. So if the load is 50, so that means available capacity is 50. So if the load is up to 50, then these would be the success probabilities. 50 onwards would be the success probability, and up to 45 would be the failed probabilities. So what is the cumulative probability for this? 0.0019767. So LOLP for this is 0.0019967 days. Okay, so for this the LOLP is this, the cumulative probability, the cumulative probability, and the load, and therefore what are the states which constitute working state and what are the states which constitute failed states. So you add up the probabilities, the working states, or add up the probabilities of the failed states, cumulative probability, and it gives you the LOLP. Likewise for B, system B. B, what is the situation? This is system A. What about system B? Yeah, B is 4 units, 10, 1 unit, 20. And the post outage rate and the peak load is given. Peak load is 40. 4 is 10 and 1 is 20. So 4 is 10 and 1 is 20. So total, of course, could be 60, 0 to 60. And then you have the probability, and then the cumulative probabilities. So, and what is the peak load on system B? 40. So that means if you have available 40, then it's not a failed state. This is not a failed state. This is not a failed state. So up to 30, it would constitute a failed state. Capacity available is up to 30, it would constitute a failed state. So what is the LOLP? This is the cumulative probability. So that would give you 0.00158,353. So that's the LOLP of A and LOLP of B. Okay. Now let's say that there is interconnection. That means let's say B is assisting A, whenever it can. So B is assisting A. So how much of assistance can be provided by A? So in A case, it was, the load was 50, maximum was 75. In B case, the peak load was 40. Peak load was 40, you remember? Peak load was 40 and the total is 60. So you can provide a spare of 20 if that is possible. B is assisting A. B is assisting. So assistance probability table of system B can be obtained. You can provide a maximum of 20. So assistance of 20 can be provided by system B when it is in 60 megawatt available state. Okay, you have load of 40, so only when you are in 60 you can provide 20, isn't it? And when you are in state of 50 megawatt available state, you can provide assistance of 10. So you can provide assistance of 10 megawatt when in 50 and assistance of 20 when in 60. No assistance can be provided when you are in 0, 20, 30, 40 state. Okay, so we build up a assistance priority table. You can provide no assistance when you are in those states, 0, 20, 30, 40. When you are in 50 state, you can provide assistance of 10. When you are in 60 state, assistance of 20. Okay, so assistance of 0, no assistance when you are in 0, 20, 30, 40. So you need a cumulative probability. Go back to B table, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, so the cumulative probability is 0.02228975. So you see, no assistance 0.2228975. Assistance of 10 when you are in 50. So you go back to the 50 table, 50, so you are having 0.00000063. So, sorry, when you are in 50, you have probability 0.07378945. 0.07378945. When you are in 60, you can provide, this is 60. So you can provide that with a probability 20, assistance of 20, you can provide 0.903920. Okay. So with 0, this is the probability. With 10, this is the probability. With 20, this is the probability. Okay. So equivalent assisting unit model of system B, 60 you have written down. You can provide assistance of 20, and this is the probability we have seen in the previous table. With 50, this is the assistance 10. With 40, this is the assistance 0. So these are the probabilities. So all capacity assistant levels should be greater than the tie capacity. If there is a tie capacity, then you have to just simply replace it by the tie capacity. So we have been able to calculate what are the assistance which can be provided and what are the probabilities with which it can be provided. Tie line constrained equivalent, assisted unit model system. Let's say that the tie line has a capacity of 10 megawatt. Tie line capacity is 10 megawatt. So either it can be available or not available. So what would happen when you have to provide, when there is 0 out, when there is 0 out, then instead of providing 20 because of the tie line, you are constrained only to provide 10. And when there is 10 out, this is for the tie line. This is for the tie line capacity. When it is, So because of the tie line, you can provide a maximum of 10. Either you can provide 10 or 0. If the tie line is not available, you can provide 0. Because you have a maximum of load, which is, it becomes a bit confusing to remember all the details. But okay, so what is the load here? Maximum. So okay, load was 40. So you could provide 20, you could provide 10, you could provide 0. Okay, So we have seen those tables. So when the tie line is of 10 megawatt available, 10 megawatt of capacity could be assisted from either of the first two states, you know. So even when you have 20 spare, or when you have 10 spare, even when you have 20 spare, when you have 20 spare, or you have 10 spare, you can provide only 10. So these two probabilities, they get added up when the tie line has limited capacity, because even though you have 20, but you can provide 10. When you have 10 also, you can provide 10. So these two probabilities get added up. Okay, so you see these two probabilities get added. And of course, if you have 0, then there is nothing to do, you know. You can provide nothing. So which is here, 0.0222. So you can provide nothing. So this is the probability with which you are able to provide the assistance through the tie line. Now this is the situation in B, and because of the tie line, how much of assistance it can provide. But what about A? Now A is receiving because of the tie line. If the tie line had an infinite capacity, it could receive 20, but because the tie line now has a limited capacity, so it can only receive 10. So maximum you can go up to, new installed capacity would be 75 plus 10, 85, isn't it? 75 plus 10. So either because of the because of the limited capacity of the tie line, so your new COPT, when the tie line is available, will have ranging from, earlier the capacity was from 0 to 75, but because of the tie line, you get these possibilities now. And therefore, you are simply multiplying the probability which you have obtained, of the available assistance 10 megawatt. This is the probability, 0.9777. So 75 plus 10, 85, 65 plus 10, 75, 55 plus 65, 75. So you are simply multiplying the probabilities due to 75 and due to 10. So because of the excess support, because of the support that you get from area B, so you end up having profile from 10 to 85, and these are the new probabilities. These are the new probabilities. And when this assistance is not there, this is when the assistance is there. When the assistance is not there, then for 0, you remember that when the assistance is not there, then this was a probability. So 75 plus 0, 65 plus 0, 55 plus 0, because the tie line is anyway there. And when the assistance is not there, you are looking at the overall when the assistance is available. Therefore, you also have to take in the 0, at least as far as the probabilities are concerned. And then you get this same available capacity. Now you have to add up these two COPTs and you get one COPT. Okay. So you get the COPT from 0 to 85 and capacity 0 to 85, and then you get these probabilities because you have taken these probabilities into account here already. So you substitute this probability and you get this probability. And if the peak load on the system A is 50 megawatt, then the reserve, when the capacity outage is more than 35 megawatt, then the system fails. Peak load is 50. Peak load is 50. That means these are if the capacity in is up to 45, then the system has failed, isn't it? That means 50 onwards only it's operationally successful. So then you need to find out the cumulative probability here, and that would give you the system failure. Okay, then it would give you the system failure probability. So what is the effect of tie line reliability? Hitherto we have assumed that these tie lines are perfect, but they are not really perfect. They are also subject to repair maintenance. So you have availability issues there. So you have availability and unavailability. So what is the impact of the imperfection in the tie line? So that can be simply calculated. Probability when the tie line is up multiplied by the uh, multiplied by the LOLP when the tie line is up. Probability when the tie line is down multiplied by the probability when the tie line LOLP when the tie line is down. Okay, so the tie line up and tie line down, we have the probabilities already. Tie line up and tie line down. We calculate the probabilities, the area availability, the availability of tie line up, the availability of tie line, and the unavailability of tie line. So these are the two probabilities. So this we multiply when we have the tie line up. Okay, when the tie line is up, what is the situation? So what is the LOLP? So we have found out the LOLP when the tie line is up. When the tie line is up, then we have found out when the tie line is up, and if you have load more than 45, you see, when you have load of 50, then these are, when you have load of 50, then the sum of these would give you the LOLP when the tie line is up. Okay. So this gives you when the tie line is up and the tie line is down. Tie line is down. Tie line is down. So tie line is down. So this would give you the up to 45. Up to 45. This would give you the probability, the LOLP when the tie line is down, up to 45, the cumulative probability. So you take the cumulative probability when the tie line is up. This is the cumulative probability when the tie line is up, the LOLP, and this is the tie line is up, reliability, and this is the LOLP when the tie line is down, and this is the unavailability of the tie line. So that gives you the LOLP due to the imperfection in the tie line. Okay. Okay, so I think it's just another complex problem. So the imperfect tie line, we have considered these examples, there's no big deal. So you take the LOLP when the tie line is up, LOLP when the tie line is down, and then you multiply by the reliabilities, the availability and the unavailability, and that gives you the probability of system failure. So impact of tie line capacity. So that's it from my side. So thanks very much. So if there is anything before we close. So is that all? Shall we close?
Any question? Any query from the participant side?
One of the things that I would say is please do read up the book and go through a couple of examples which are there in the book, and go through them thoroughly. Make sure that you have your calculators, hand calculators with you when you are reading, and do check all the calculations. Don't really depend upon the calculations that could be given in the book. So most of these tables are generated by students who are working in the class on these problems, and there could be errors. So unless you know what the errors are, you will not have a correct idea if you have understood it correctly, the formulas, and whether you are able to apply them correctly, whether there is some missing link, whether there is some conceptual gap. So all that you can only discover only when you sit with a calculator and you start doing the problems all exactly on your own, and then keep comparing at every step whether you got the right answers. So don't assume that everything that's could be given in the book, could be not that anybody wants to confuse you or has done it deliberately to give you some wrong results. No, these are errors that slip in, where there are hundreds and thousands of calculations, in all textbooks. So there is a possibility of slippage here and there. So do check. If you don't check it, you will not figure it out. Do check and hand calculate, and then keep checking the answers. There could be some errors in one place, but subsequently corrected later. I'm not saying that these could be there in Roy Billington's book, but or in some other book, but unless and until you verify it yourself, you can never be too sure of the calculations. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think, yeah, there is no query from the participant side.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot from all our side, NIT Delhi, AICT, for accepting our invitation and delivering the lecture on the vast area which is covered in the power system and which is most important in the day-to-day operation as well. So, thanks a lot, sir.